Hi, Anne here and welcome to Rock Painting Workshops. Today we have got a really fun little rock to do. I've got my supplies here, I'll just get them out of the way. We're doing a little hula hoop girl and you're probably going to get a story from me on this one. But here I'm just using the dabber, but I'm doing my usual method of just using some paint pens around the edges, and then I usually blend them off with my finger. But I thought I would just show you then, because some people just don't like getting paint on their fingers, and I can understand that. And something that doesn't bother me, but I can understand it bothers other people, because my husband is exactly like that. Can't stand getting any marks or pen marks on his skin. So you can just use the dabber, and that will also just take out and blend the colour as well. So this one is the Posca red glitter. It's more of a deep pinky colour, I think you'd say. Yeah, like a red pink. Okay, so just make a choice if you want to use your finger or use the dabbers, sponge dabbers, finger dabbers. They've got a whole heap of different names, but I'll put the link in the bio for you. So there you go, her background's done. She's ready to start painting. And usual drill, I'm just going to lay down one layer of acrylic paint. I'm just doing one thin layer. And remember, the first layer won't look perfect, it won't look finished. Some of it might absorb into the rock depending on what type of rock you've got. That's okay, just keep going. We need to get that first layer down. And by the time we've put the second layer on top, it will be beautiful and opaque. I was wondering why it looks so white. I'd started off using the ivory, and I don't really like that as a skin tone. I like a little bit more warmth to the light colour, and I've now picked up the beige. Okay, so I use Posca. I use Posca beige as my base colour, and I shade that in later with a brown. So yeah, I just continue to lay down the first colour. Nice thin layer of colour. And you can see, especially when I've done things like the hair, I'm trying to give it a little bit of movement, even though it's a still picture. So you can see the pigtail flows off to the right on both sides. Okay, so on the left hand side of the girl, her pigtail is still sort of swooshing off to the right hand side, and you can see that paint pen was not shaken up very well before I started. So you can see how a lot of the binder came out, but no pigment came out. So that's why it's really important to shake up your paint pens before you use them. Okay, I'll just keep going. Usually before I do a tutorial, I shake up all my pens so that I don't bore you with the process. But I also give it a test on Bert to make sure that they're working that day. And you can see that's why Bert, my pet rock off to the right, has lots of little marks on him from where I've checked every pen before I start. We'll go red hula hoop. And what colour was your hula hoop? I remember in primary school, we had like a sports shed where you went down at Big Lunch and you put your name down, you told them what sporting equipment you want or play equipment you want, and they took your name and you signed a little book, and you took out the I'll interrupt the story a minute just so you can catch where I'm going. I've done the 2 layers now, and the second layer I didn't actually film as I was doing it, so I've got 2 layers, and right now I'm doing my shading. And I do that, I wet my paintbrush, I wipe off any excess water, and then I lay the colours down just by touching the top of my paint pen, picking up some colour, and I just add the shading in that way. If you're not sure how I do it, make sure you pop along to our website, rockpaintingworkshops.com, and there's a huge rock painting course that I've created there. It's got 52 different videos, and that definitely shows you step by step how we do all these different steps that I show you in my daily videos. Yeah, so back to my hula hoop, because I have to tell you all about it. We had this, you'd go down to the sports equipment, I don't know what they call it, storeroom or something, and you'd let them know. Of course, the boys used to always take out the footballs and soccer balls and things like that, and the girls would just line up for the hula hoops. And it was such a thing to get down there and be one of the first kids down there in line to get the hula hoops, because it mattered which one you got, right? There was like small wooden kind of hoops, and they had a bit of like bamboo binding, and we had like the bigger colored ones and everything. Okay. Yeah, so it really mattered which one you got, because if you were last in the line, you usually got the worst hula hoops ever. Because the small little wooden ones were usually put down on the ground during your physical education lessons, and they were ones that you jumped from hoop to hoop on the ground. For some reason, they thought that us girls could use them at Big Lunch and, you know, play hula hoops with them. But we really loved the big ones. Okay, that's that shading done. Yeah, so as I was like doing this girl, I was like, hula hoops, and I was trying to remember which ones were the best hula hoops, but I mean, face it, at the end of the day, it was like 43 years ago, so I don't really remember. So here, take your black acrylic fine line pen, and we're just going to do the out colours now, like the outlining, and just put some ruffles on her sleeves. But yeah, there was so many games we made out of the hula hoops. It was like how long could we keep it going on our hips, and then of course we had to do it around our necks. And that one was when it came in handy, when you got the small wooden hoops. That was easier to do on the neck. And then you did them on your feet, you did them on your hands. It was just such a thing. Okay, I'm just doing sort of darker, filling in some little corner areas there with the darker shading. And you'll also see that legs are at quite a odd angle, and that's because she's twisting as she goes. So you can decide on that one how you're going to angle your legs, but I've sort of got them bent and going in the same direction. I've got the hem of her skirt going from long to high, because that's also swooshing around as she gets that hula hoop going on her hips. It's just such a fun little sport too. Okay, get that happening. And just keep going with your outlines, coming up into the face and the hair. Sort of giving the swooshes, you know, they're going off to the right side, as we said before. So we're not doing the opposite, we're sort of doing the same, that direction going off to the right there. Just a little bit of darker shading into the hair. And we're curling that one around to the right as well. Okay, so we're just checking halfway up, halfway across. We're just going to put those eyes in about the halfway point, little nose, and a line for her mouth. And I'll stick a little bit of colour on that in a minute as well. But I'm just thinking she needs freckles, right? Anyhow, we'll put that little bit of lip colour in there. Don't get too complicated with faces. You can see how easy I'm making it. But I've grabbed my gold pen because everyone needs golden freckles. It's kind of that era, right? The 70s, when we were out in the sun getting freckles and hula hooping, and it was all fun. Okay, just adding some white pen highlights onto it now. So have a think about it. I mean, what direction will you do the legs? What colour dress? No, more importantly, don't worry about the dress. What colour hula hoop are you going to draw on your freckly little summer girl? I'd love to find out, so please come and share your rocks with me on Facebook group, and we're Reef Rocks free workshops on Facebook. We'll see you there, and I'd love to see what colour hula hoops you choose.